Good afternoon, guys. Today we're going to look at active versus passive voice, and I think for most of you this is probably just a review, so I'm going to go through it pretty quickly, but I've just noticed that some of you guys use it occasionally in your writing, and so I wanted to go ahead and address it early in the year. Active voice is going to be when the subject does the action. So, in this example, Steve loves Amy. Subject is Steve. What does Steve do? He loves. Who does he love? He loves Amy. So you got subject, verb, direct object. Very straightforward. Alright, so let's think about some modern examples. Most things are written in active voice because active voice shows authority, it shows purpose. So there's a song that's called I Heard It Through the Grapevine. I'm not going to sing it for you. If you would like to know what that sounds like, then go to this YouTube address and you can hear Marvin Gaye in all his glory. But here, subject is I. What did they do? What did I do? I heard. And what did I hear? I heard it. And through the grapevine, prepositional phrase. Okay? Very straightforward. Now, passive voice is just the opposite. This is going to be when whatever the object of the sentence was is moved up into the subject position. So let's look at the example. Remember, Steve loves Amy? Now it is Amy is loved by Steve. Okay? Now, think about reasons why you wouldn't want to write like this. There's a lot of reasons. One is it's awkward. Amy is loved by Steve. You sound like you are not familiar with the language. If you were to have written that on your paper, it would sound very awkward. I would mark it as PV for passive voice. Right here, if you took the Marvin Gaye song, instead of I heard it through the grapevine, it was heard by me through the grapevine. Not very catchy. Okay, now, notice the difference in these two sentences right here. You have Steve loves Amy versus Amy is loved by Steve. You have be verbs. So, again, this is another reason why you want to limit your be verbs because you want your writing to sound more sophisticated. Okay, so is a be verb always a sign of passive voice? And this is where a lot of people, even educated people, get confused. People assume that if there is a be verb in a sentence, that the sentence is passive, but that's not the truth because we know from 2 slides ago that active voice is when the subject does the action. So let's go back and look at this example right here. I am holding a pen. What is the subject? I. And what am I doing? I am holding a pen. Is the subject doing the action? Yes, it is. Therefore, this is an active sentence that happens to have the be verb am in it. So if you wanted to change it to passive voice, remember you take the object and it becomes the subject. So the pen, which was the object, is being held by me. So basically just this one, the object and the subject switch spots, and that's what makes it passive. Okay, so this is just cute. You can read it. Okay, now I came upon this from another teacher, and if this helps you, then I say go for it. If not, then just disregard this. But an elementary teacher found that their kids could quit writing in passive voice by using a zombie example. So here we go. If you can add the phrase by zombies after the verb, and it makes sense, that tells you that it's passive. If it doesn't, then it's active. So right here, the store is overrun by zombies. That makes sense. So it's passive. He runs by zombies the store. Doesn't make sense. That tells you it's active. So if you can find the verb, and then right after put by zombies, and that helps you, I'm really excited. Okay, now, I don't want you to think that passive voice is always a bad thing, because it's not. Sometimes it is the most appropriate use of the word, of the phrasing. So, for example, if you want to know who, if you're not so concerned about the who it is, but the what, then passive voice is a good thing. So let's go look at the example. My car was stolen last night. You don't care, I mean, you care who stole the car, but in this statement right here, we're not talking about the thief that stole your car. We're talking about the fact that your car is stolen. When you call the police reporting your car is stolen, you're not going to say, somebody stole my car, if you don't know who that person is. Alright, the next one. The camera was manufactured in Korea. Do we care who made the camera? No, we just care that the camera works. Right here. The Great Wall of China was built to, the Great Wall has been built to protect China. Who built the wall? A lot of poor hard workers did, but we don't really care about that in this statement. We're talking more about the protection of China. So that's when it's also good. It's also when you're just going to make a generalized announcements, because again, You're not going to have somebody doing the action. It's the what that's being communicated in the statement that's important. So like when you're in college, the class was canceled due to snow. We don't care who's canceling the class. We want to know that class was canceled so we can go home and build snowmen, right? A mistake was made in the program. The boss might care who made the mistake, but the people who are looking at the program don't care. They just want to know what the mistake was. All right, and there's might be one more. Also, to emphasize results is important. Again, it isn't so much about the who, unless you're talking about individuals, but you want the results. So right here, the computer was repaired quickly. Again, that was sweet of the computer man to repair it, but we don't care so much about him as so much more that we can get back on our computer and get on Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, whatever else, right? Last one, to sound objective. I think you will use this when you write like about synthesis and write about papers, when you're just trying to convey facts and not necessarily you weren't there. Right here, the John F. Kennedy example. John F. Kennedy was shot when he was very young. That is being objective because this is purely a fact. We could add to it and say John F. Kennedy was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald when he was very young. And again, that makes it passive, but again, not necessarily bad passive. Mars is being examined for life forms. Again, you're saying objective. And that's pretty much it, guys. So we're going to be practicing this in class. And just be aware that this exists, and make sure that when you do choose to use be verbs in your writing, that you limit them and use stronger, more articulate verbs throughout. But then when you do come to a passive statement, as long as it makes sense and the subject's doing the action, then you're good to go.